Evening, and once again welcome to my YouTube channel. As we conclude this chapter, I want us to look at this question. Chapter review 2, quadratics, question number 11. A diver launches herself off a springboard. The height of the diver in meters above the pool t seconds after launch can be modeled by the following function. The height of the diver above the pool t seconds after the launch can be modeled by the following function. The height is equals to 5t minus 10t squared plus 10, where t is greater than or equals to 0. First question: how high is the springboard above the water? We are told that the diver launches herself over springboard. So when t is 0, the diver was at the springboard. And the question is asking us, how high is the springboard above the water? He was at the springboard when t was 0. So ht, which is equals to now 5t minus 10t squared plus 10. At t is equals to 0, the h is going to be 5 times 0, 0, or the whole plus 0 plus 0 plus 10. So the springboard is 10 meters above the water. It was 10 meters above the water, and that is the answer to part A of the question. Part B: use the model to find the time at which the diver hits the water. Use the time. Use the model to find the time at which the diver hits the water. We are told that, if I may have an elaboration of what we are expecting or what we are having, this could be the water level and this could be the diver. The distance here is 10 meters as realized here. The diver is diving from this particular point. The diver is diving from this particular point, goes probably in the air and come back. So at what time will he be at the will he hit the water? He could dive this way, he could also dive this way, it doesn't matter. But whatever the direction he takes, he will be hitting the water. What I want us to understand is that when the diver hits the water, the h above the water will be 0. The height above the water will be 0. So we are going to have 5t minus 10t squared plus 10 is equals to 0. So we are now expected to find the value of t, and we can rearrange all this term to have, take each one of them at the right hand side to have 10t squared minus 5t minus 10 is equals to 0. Now at that point we can divide everything by 5 to make our work easier, and this one is already giving us divide everything by 5. We have 2t squared minus t minus 2 is equals to 0. So at this point we can actually use the quadratic formula, and we say t is equals to minus negative 1, which is 1, plus minus the root of minus 1 squared minus 4 times a times minus 2. Everything over 2a, which is 2 times 2, 4. And it follows that t is equals to 1 plus minus, the whole of this is 1, this is 16 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times minus 2 is minus 16. 1 minus minus 16 is positive 17. Everything over 4. I would want to get the values of t. We have 1 plus the root of 17. When you divide this one when you divide it by 4, you get 1.28. T is 1.28, or 1 minus the root of 17 and then divide by 4. Negative t is equals to negative 0.78. But because t can never be negative, then for this one you say ignore. We have to ignore this one because there is no way t can be negative. That is as far as part B is concerned. So the only value of t is 1.28 seconds. Part C, rearrange ht into the form of a minus b t minus c squared and give the values of a, b, and c. What we are saying here is that the whole thing, what we are having is we are starting from this is ht, this is ht, that is ht, and as we can say, ht is equals to minus 10t squared plus 5t plus 10. Writing it in this form, first of all we must probably get minus t outside, minus 10 outside, minus 10. We get it outside. Into bracket we have t squared minus this divided by 10 is 0.5 t plus 10. We are actually completing the square. And as you can see, this becomes now minus 10 t, divide this one by 2, which is minus 0.25, close bracket, squared, minus 0.25 squared. The whole of that part is affected by negative 10 plus 10. Opening the bracket, you have negative 10 t minus 0.25 close bracket squared minus what is 0.25 squared is 0.25 squared is 0.0625 is 0.0625. And let us just talk of it is true we have minus 0.0625, close the bracket and close there, plus 10. There we go. Finally, we now can eventually open the bracket, which is negative 10. We have something to do with t minus 0.25 close bracket squared. This negative times this negative and negative 10 times 0.065 becomes plus 0.625 plus 10, and eventually we put this together. It gives you 10.625 minus 10 open bracket t minus 0.25 squared. This one is already in the form of a minus b open bracket t minus c squared, where you can see a is 10.625, B is 10, and C is 0.25. We have to arrive at that particular solution, and there we go. The final part of the question is asking us, using your answer in part C or otherwise, find the maximum height of the diver and the time at which this maximum height is reached. Find the maximum height of the diver and the time when this height was reached. And I would want us to just go to maximum height. This is part D. And as you can see, we have this answer, 10.625 minus 10 t minus 0.25 squared. The maximum, I want to believe that we must understand that the whole of this bracket will always be positive because of the presence of the square. It will always be positive. So when this positive is multiplied by a negative number, the whole of this will always be a negative. So the highest the whole of this value can be, the highest the whole of this part can be, the highest is 0. And it is always going to be 0 when t is equals to 0.25. 0.25 minus 0.25 is 0. 0 squared is 0. 0 times negative 10 remains 0. Otherwise, if t is going to be anything else, the bracket will always be positive, and positive times a negative number will be a negative number. So we will always have 10 minus something. So the maximum this part can be is 0. And therefore, the maximum height is 10.625 meters. And this will happen when t is equals to 0.25, because only then this bracket will be 0. 0 squared will be 0. And that is the end of that question. Thank you, and let us meet in the next video.